Our report is ready. Let us welcome Mr. Ali Shab along with the panelists. Give them a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. A very good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be with you today. I take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure for hosting this event, as well as the IMO, also for the Maritime Standard for powering the event. I would like to welcome our speakers, Mr. Arsenio, Captain Saif, Tatiana, and Justin Webb. Okay, so let's begin. It's such a pleasure to have you, an honor to have you with us, Mr. Arsenio. So our theme of this event is our ocean, our obligation, our opportunity. How does this reflect the priority and vision of the IMO?
Good morning again to all of you, and thank you for staying with us. The priorities, I outlined some of them earlier. When we looked into the operations the ships carry out on the oceans, is where we decided a long time ago, with the adoption of the Marple Convention back in 1973, of our responsibility as well to protect this vital waterway. With nearly 7 decades of IMO looking after global shipping, and now that we understand more about the importance of the ocean and how not only regulates and takes a great part of what is happening in relation to climate change, but how we also depend from the ocean, is what has increased also that awareness and responsibility of IMO. That's why we continue to enhance the green credentials of the organization. Yes, as members of the United Nations, and it was highlighted in the very creative video earlier, we also are part of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda of the United Nations. And here is where the SDG 14 in relation to life on the water becomes a pivotal part of IMO. The fact that this year we also celebrated the 3rd UN Oceans Conference to highlight all the achievements and all the actions that are still required was a very good reasoning for IMO to adopt this theme.
Indeed. And then, the industry need to maintain its commitment to these obligations that are as a result of the regulation, etc. And how to keep a balance between all of that from the views of the IMO.
A balance on the implementation of the regulations or creative regulations.
There will be, they need to create a balance between the commitment, the economy and the economy.
And the economy.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why we carry out impact assessments and analysis into how these IMO regulations will enter into force, how they will be implemented, and if there is any negative impact on the states, on the shipping sector as well, we will then provide the necessary adjustments on the regulations.
Indeed.
Our rules continues to evolve. Just as technology and innovation advances, we have to then adjust our regulatory process in that respect. We need to look very much into the effect, positive and any negative effect of the regulatory process. And that's why we carry out continuous analysis and evaluations. The experience building phase and the process that we have in place to inspect the ships and gather experience is within it comes back to the organization for us to input that into any reviews.
But that also, as a challenge, it brings the industry with an opportunity rather than just a challenge. And therefore, people have to work together in order really to get the goals achieved. So what opportunities are there that IMO see?
In relation, I mean, there's a plethora of opportunity. We can start looking into not just at the ship, but the whole shipping sector, the maritime industry, which is, it creates so many job opportunities for everyone. If we look into decarbonization, it's how countries can develop further utilizing the national resources. Similarly, you can pick any IMO instrument, ship recycling, and that allows countries to benefit from the side effects, the positive side effects of ship recycling in relation to how they develop other industries at national level, how they can recycle steel, aluminum, all those materials that then can actually enhance, can be part of the national economies. Training of seafarers, training and job opportunities around the shipping sector, because it's not the people only on board, which of course have our priorities, but you go from logistics, law degrees, economies, new technologies, AI, all that actually relates to the IMO regulations and to the industry itself. So that's where you actually see all the opportunities. The problem is that we tend to focus more normally on the negativity as humans that we are, rather than looking ahead into, yes, by facing challenges, we actually have opportunities that will make us better.
The movie we saw just before, and it gave the story of the founding fathers, and then the legacy that they have created for the future generation to follow. And that's the question, how important is ocean literacy, especially among youth, in shaping the future of sustainable maritime industries?
It's very important, and we also need to work in how we utilize it. And again, we go back to the younger generations. We can't expect that everyone is just going to read all the IMO documents or all the literature that exists out there. It's how we are becoming more visual, how we transform ourselves in order to reach out to these generations, for them to understand not only the threats that the oceans is facing, but the opportunities that are out there.
I mean,
you need to move on, otherwise I monopolize this conversation.
I know, but I'm taking the opportunity really to get the maximum thoughts from you and you know, for the engagement of the stakeholders here. But I know you need a minute to rest. And Captain Safe. So when it comes into the theme and the role of ports in supporting the IMO, how are you achieving that?
The theme, our ocean, our obligation, our opportunity, is a perfectly made theme, because as ports, we are the gateway of trade. And all of the, as His Excellency mentioned earlier, over 80% of the commodities movement are through the oceans, and the ports are the receiving party of these. So it is our oceans, it is a main role of our business. Our obligation and our duty is sustainability.
Indeed.
So sustainability is key for preserving what we have for the future generations. So this is our obligation through number of factors to decarbonize, starting from efficiency at operations, from electrification of our operations and equipment and ships, using renewable energies and alternative fuels, as well as ensuring the proper waste management and biodiversity conservations. From the opportunity part, as per what Your Excellency mentioned, it's very important to collaborate. Right now, from I read an article, from 2030 until 2050, there is an estimation to be over $1 trillion USD investment for decarbonization in the industry. So this is where all industries need to collaborate in terms of the government sector, the private sector, and R&D institutes where collaboration need to be done, because shipping industry is one of the hardest really to go to net zero. And this is where you are doing
hard to abate.
Hard to abate.
Yeah, hard to abate industry.
Yeah.
And the composition we have is speakers here. So we've got ports, operators and owners, as well as ship operators and owners. And then we have the society where the action comes for protecting the environment. And going to you, Justin. So what's your thought in that?
Well, salam alaikum, and thank you very much for the opportunity to join the panel today. I think at ADNOC LNS we're aware that we're part of something much bigger, the global maritime industry, and also operating within the UAE is a fantastic privilege. I think the thing that stands out to me is very well noted there, both a sense of obligation to operate safely and sustainably, but also the fantastic opportunity. And I very much appreciate the words from Arsenio. I think there's never been such a fantastic time to be involved in shipping, reaching out to the youth, the application of AI that ADNOC LNS has demonstrated leadership in developing our smart port solution. And the thing that I'm most proud of is our smart AI safety initiative, whereby just today, vessels operating just behind us in the waters out here in the UAE, there are billions of simulations going on board our vessels, keeping our crews safe. So we do have plenty of opportunity, but we also have an obligation to manage emissions, reduce fuel consumption, and to keep people and the environment that we operate in safely. So I think opportunity and obligation go hand in hand, and we're ready to play our part.
You mentioned the word people, and that is the society. And that's where I go to you, Tatiana. And therefore, why is community engagement is such an important part of this process that you do?
Well, thank you very much for having me and for representing the society. Reminding also that this year in the UAE, we are hosting the Year of Community. And I think the role of community is very important. We need to work together, and appreciate Captain Saif mentioning collaboration. And I think collaboration really goes beyond just the industry, the economy, and the governments. We really need to understand why are we doing this and for who are we doing this. We're doing this for future generations to be able to thrive and live in a better world. So for them also to grow, and in the video we saw before, it's really about how our youth is going to see themselves working and thriving in the future and playing a role. So yes, by learning, understanding what's around, reconnecting with nature. When we're talking about the ocean, but unfortunately the education and the awareness around oceans is very weak compared to land. We don't really understand what's below our beautiful oceans, the importance it has. And sometimes even when we talk about saving the planet or talking about planting trees for oxygen, we don't realize that actually 70% of the oxygen is produced by our oceans. Our oceans sequester the biggest quantity of carbon. It's a carbon sink. And so we need to understand it, understand how to protect it. But again, we need our youth to become really part of the solution through innovation, and the whole research and R&D that will happen and is happening requires the youth to be trained and aware.
Indeed, our knowledge of the oceans is very little when it comes into wherever research that has been done over there. But that requires for, maybe a call for a partnership, some collaboration in that field, etc. And that takes me to the next question. What role do the partnership between government, industry, and civil society play in fulfilling our shared obligation to the ocean?
That's embedded in the way that we work at IMO. Yes, the member states make the final decision, but when we develop every single regulation, We do it with the participation of intergovernmental organizations and non-governmental organizations. The ports are represented, IUCN is represented at IMO, and this is where we take on board all the perspectives, including civil society. So we don't work in isolation.
Indeed, and that's where we see the representation when it comes into the IMO, and then where you have flag states and you have stakeholders from the various areas of the industry. And maybe I go to Justin. In this area of collaboration and partnership, etc., ADNOC is doing a lot. And perhaps you could share some of this?
Yeah, I'll focus on a couple of narrower issues, which I didn't cover before. I think you're right. Then it's well known that actually ADNOC Group's emissions targets are 5 years ahead of the IMO, and those filter through to a company like ours. So just in the course of calendar 24, we invested more than $5 billion. So that's a huge amount of money. The overwhelming proportion of it was focused on new buildings and also acquiring other vessels through a corporate acquisition. So I think in many ways, our obligation to experiment with new fuels, we're using biofuels, LPG as a dual fuel, ethane as a dual fuel, LNG as a dual fuel on very large crude carriers, as well as a variety of other fuels. We have cold ironing, which for those who might not be familiar with it, means the electrification of vessels when they call alongside.
Zero emission while at port.
Yep. Yeah. So I think we need to have the practical experience ourselves of operating this. And in our fleet of more than 350 vessels, we're more than willing to play our part, show leadership in adopting new fuels, new technologies. It's not only our obligation, it's a great opportunity to learn as well, partnering with the IMO and with other participants in the ecosystem, like Abu Dhabi Ports, is our pleasure as well. So learning jointly, collaboratively, as you, Tatiana, mentioned as well, I think that's the key. We don't want or need to do it all on our own. Working with civil society, regulators, peers, competitors will only make us better. We're happy to do that.
Yeah, indeed. And that takes me to Captain Safe. And there are a lot of examples as well as far as the sustainability targets for port developments in Abu Dhabi ports. Also, you're doing a lot of investment in that area. Any of those examples that you are already having?
Yes, of course. So we have examples which is nature-based solutions. So I have like 2 examples I can share, which is the eco seawalls, which we installed in 2 of our ferry stations. And this is made of environmentally friendly material, and it is at 4 levels. 1 is fully submerged deep, 1 is a shallow level, 1 is a tidal area, and 1 is on the splash. And it is basically have different textures, and it is encourage the marine growth on these walls. So this is a very good area that when you put a key wall or a place that will be a place where also for the marine life to come in. Another part which is related to the nature-based solution is the biohuts. So we had around 48 biohuts. The biohuts basically as cages where it allows smaller fish that need protection to grow in. And it filled around it with seashells. So this is where the nature part comes in. In addition, from the other decarbonization initiatives, from all of the steps we are doing, from efficiency, as mentioned by Mr. Arsino, that's we are doing the silicone hull coating. So that will increase efficiency over 5% of the fuel consumption. As well as we have recently deployed low Earth orbiting satellites into our operations, where it will have more precise measurements of our locations, where we can deploy AI tools for voyage optimizations, route optimization, as well as better planning the voyages based on the meteorological part. From the electrification part, we have the electrical tugs. It's got a Guinness World Record for the most strongest electrical tugs.
So
And
the list keeps going on.
the list
and
is
on
long.
and
yes.
on. And not only that, it's actually, it meets your, getting your operational targets up to that level that you, your aspiration is for optimizing, getting the highest performance with
Yeah.
the lowest carbon footprint. But you, Captain Safe, wear two hats.
Yeah.
One is the position of Chief Sustainability Officer for Abu Dhabi Ports, but also you are responsible for the Abu Dhabi Maritime Hub.
Yeah.
And there where you do, I think that's very important also for others to know about. So what do you do exactly there?
Yeah. So AD Maritime is, we are in collaboration with Abu Dhabi government to do the roles and the responsibilities of the maritime regulators in Abu Dhabi. And part of our initiatives that we established Maritime Hub Abu Dhabi, which is basically something we learned from benchmarking with other hubs similar to the Singapore Maritime Foundation, where you have working groups from the industry, connecting the industry to the government and ensuring that we listen to their requirements, listen to their needs. And this is number of initiatives came from that, which is the Maritime Sustainability Research Center, as well as we established a tool which is called Maritime Sustainability DNA, in short, MARSADNA.
So
Yeah.
basically, the regulations by the IMO and how they are cascading down up to the working group level, that's where they come. And that takes me to the next question about how can mobilizing different stakeholder groups, including through public-private partnership, accelerate the progress in ocean and maritime sustainability, Tatiana?
Yes, so I think when we work with the different stakeholders about understanding what the priorities are from a government point of view and also from a private sector point of view. So in the past, I would say 16 years, what we've done has always been to talk to the government, understand what are the strategies, what are the most important aspects we need to focus on. And we've launched different projects, starting from educational, working with the Ministry of Education under their greening program for schools, working with universities, looking at innovations and bringing in more science into the whole aspect. We launched last year the first citizen project with schools and universities to analyze the sand and the water of the UAE, bringing the children to the lab and understanding what is in the water, microplastics, and different chemicals. And really, when you see what happens in the children's minds and students' minds, it's incredible, and really how they then want to act. But moving away from then education, it's also about looking at new technologies and innovations. We're launching now also a venture program from research to commercialization, looking at solutions in MENA. And of course, then we've launched the MENA Ocean Summit 3 years ago in the occasion of COP28 being hosted in the UAE. We're hosting the third edition now in partnership with the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment and IUCN. In Abu Dhabi. And this is really a call to action, again, to collaboration. We believe that the MENA region has a lot to offer. There's a lot of wealth in terms of research, in terms of data. It's just that it's not shared, it's not out there, and it's really about how can the region come together and contribute to global programs. And this is what we've done under the UN Ocean Breakthrough. We're hosting the MENA group to support the breakthrough, and we work on a program which is the UN Maritime Decarbonization to Biodiversity Program specifically for the region.
You have any thoughts on this, Mr. Arsenio?
I have way too many thoughts all the time.
I know.
That's the problem. One of the pleasures, the good surprises actually, of listening to this is how the IMO regulations have and continue to be implemented in order to meet its goals. Because everything that you were mentioning about, whole coatings to increase efficiency by 5%, electrification, using AI for better route planning, the meteorological information, again, to enhance the efficiency of the ships. Then you're talking about decarbonizing or reaching net zero by 2040, which is ahead of IMO. All this continues to demonstrate that it's actually happening and that it is possible. And then when you go into the partnerships and the projects that are there, it's similar to the pathway that we are taking in launching biofouling, Green Voyage 2050, biolitter or marine litter projects, in order not only to share the information that exists, but the practices that some countries, some companies have put it in place, and for others to follow suit. What we need as well, it's a little bit more of talking about it outside our shipping sector, and this is where partnerships with IUCN allow us to go beyond just everybody that is with Maritime.
So showcasing and then engagement with the society and beyond the society and passing the message there. It is one of the actions that are needed by the stakeholders within the industry. Perhaps maybe Justin, from your side, I know that there is a lot you mentioned about the different example that ADNOC LNS is doing. But when it comes into the society and the engagement with the society of making the awareness in this regard, there is, I think, a lot of actions that have been taken as well from ADNOC.
Agreed. I think at times like this, it's quite easy to focus on the nature of the challenge, how difficult things will be with the geopolitical background and maybe meeting resistance. But in a way, and this isn't intended to be maybe slightly biased and maybe a love letter to the UAE, so to speak. But if I take a step back and I just think of the developments that have been made in this country over the last 25 or 30 years, and then I zoom back into that of ADNOC, I think the IMO has a steadfast, reliable, fantastic partner in the form of the UAE. And again, this is a bit biased because I can see my boss sitting there in the front row. but even using our own company as an example, as a small microcosm of the UAE and maybe an ambassador for the rest of the UAE, 10 years ago, we're now a listed company, so this is no confidential. We were worth less than $1 billion. Today, we're the second largest energy maritime logistics company in the world. 10 years ago, we had one office, or we were based in the UAE only. Now we're based around 19 cities, 5 continents, 12,000 employees. And again, that's not a boast, that's just to reflect on the fact that whilst you're presented with challenges, the opportunities out there, just to repeat the point I made on shipping, particularly here in the UAE, are fantastic. So I've no doubt that that type of energy, that type of persistence is going to help us all achieve the targets that we've set. So I'm not naive. I know it's a big target, but with the energy in this room, I think that it's more than achievable.
We are not naive at all. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of investment, a lot of, a serious commitment in different, troubling times. You mentioned the challenges as geopolitics or whatever. So this ups and downs, but looking ahead, going to you, Captain Saif. What key innovations will be needed to build greater resilience and sustainability into the global port sector?
I think what is happening in the last couple of years is very known that AI is the dominating factor. AI has some conflicting with sustainability because it consumes a lot of energy, but it can be used for the better good for sustainability, that it is the future. It will make it faster, accelerating, doing analytics, doing better studies, better solutions and recommendations. So having AI is key. Another part which I feel that innovation should focus in even more, which is the nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions for decarbonization, for environment protection is super important. It is taking a momentum from long time, but more efforts need to be done from that side. So I think the mix of AI and nature-based solutions will be the best for the future.
You know, AI is the final result of having the right digital infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
You have it in place, everything is connected in a very holistic manner, and then whatever they call it, the algorithm, etc., then the AI really take over in helping you into that very purpose. And I believe there is a lot of investment happening in Abu Dhabi ports in this regard.
Yes, of course. So one of the things that we started already doing, so we have specialized AI agents for every function. So right now we reached around 50 AI agents. That is from reviewing legal documents and summarizing them, from doing summarizing and analytics for complicated tender documents. We have even board members who will be AI as well. So this is what we are doing. So data is the key component for AI, and how strong AI will be, how much data you give it.
So this is in the digital space.
Yeah.
But then when we come into, I go to Tatiana on the maritime decarbonization to biodiversity. Roadmap is unique initiative. How does it aim to connect decarbonization with diversity goals in the MENA region?
Well, I think we really need to understand that the end goal is to protect biodiversity and to conserve it. So the whole roadmap is about really working with the communities, working with people, working with the private sector, which specifically in the MENA region plays a very important role. I mean, if you have to think that most of the programs based on conservation and education and training are actually mostly funded by private sector. So the role they play is critical. The role they play also in transforming and being able to, look into new technologies and AI also is fundamental. So the whole program is about how we can come together. And also paired with, we've launched a MENA Nature-Based Solutions Alliance in June. And this is, again, how can we find these solutions that are specific to the region? We need to remember that we have a unique climate, a unique biodiversity that could actually become a solution for the rest of the world. The whole world is warming, and we have a nature and a biodiversity that's actually built on these weather and conditions. So in terms of science as well, it's a fantastic opportunity. And again, the private sector has been funding that research. So this is where you see through this program, the coming together of government and private sector to accelerate, and I think for the region to play a very active role. So far, the region has been looking at global programs from far, and I think now it's the time for the region to actually co-create these programs and understanding how to play a very active role and even being part of the structuring of the frameworks that are specific to the region.
Justin, so from your perspective as the specialty where you come from, business development, setting strategies, so therefore, how should companies rethink their long-term strategies and put things in the right direction to achieve the goals?
Well, the first thing to say is I think listening to the panelists and being aware of what others are doing, there are many people out there with excellent strategies, excellent plans already. So it's not really for me to guide them. I think people are doing, a lot of people out there are doing fantastic work. I do think, again, if we, maybe a slight mindset change in terms of sustainability, think of the energy that we dedicate towards HSE, keeping our people safe, operating safely. If we adopt the same mindset towards sustainability, then it becomes much more of an obligation for us. So for me, I see the balance between a sustainable future presents certainly from my perspective on the strategy side, there's that sense of obligation, the duty to show leadership given the status our company has within the ecosystem, but also it's a great business development opportunity as well. So innovation, leadership also brings its own rewards. So I think it's a balance. We have to do it anyway. And I think, again, if we take that ethos that's developed in all of us here around the obligation to operate safely, to operate sustainably as well, is the same category.
I would like to unwind now with the panel, and therefore I will go back into the theme again: our ocean, our obligation, our opportunity. And I watched a lot of your videos. So the call for action, the call for action, the call for action is always the very takeaway, really. But what is the most urgent action the maritime sector must take to turn today's opportunities into long-term benefits for the ocean?
Sorry, the most?
The most important action needs to be taken in order to turn everything that we are doing into an opportunity.
From the IMO perspective, is implementation.
Indeed.
That will be the key message, because of course, through the implementation of all the regulations is where we also learned how progressive they are and how we continue to make them better.
Indeed.
And what is also interesting is that listening to everything on the panel, by saving the oceans, we're connecting all the dots within the work of IMO. There's been a lot of emphasis on decarbonization, plus biofouling, on the water radiating noise, safety, partnerships, AI, all the things that we're actually addressing, and of course engaging with the people, because without that awareness, things will not happen.
It's interesting that working closely with the clients is just giving you a feedback, a real pulse check. And these actions actually already people are doing it. The likes of ADNOC LNS, Abu Dhabi Ports, and many other companies who are here in the venue. And it's interesting also to see the level of commitment when it comes into that, because they see a benefit at the end of the day while achieving the sustainability target and working better to the environment. They're also having a more optimized operation and therefore much more financial returns to the people. So in the same process of unwinding, I start with Tatiana, and perhaps what's your final thoughts on what actions need to be taken, and any other thoughts on this theme that we have here?
Well, for me, it would be, because we're here representing the UAE and the region, I would like to, as a call to action, ask the region to really start looking at the global programs and how to take an active role, participate, and really put the region at the same level when we're talking about signing the high seas treaties, looking at the plastic pollution. And these are things that are not just related to other parts of the world. And I think the society, the private sector, and the government, they're already all working towards that. It's about now really putting action into that through regulation, through coming together. So really real action starting today.
Sustainable development is the triangle with 3 legs, and that is the society, the environment, and the financial returns, where it becomes, is there really, because you work for a noble cause, do you find that support, is it appealing to investors and people who also share with you the same?
Absolutely. And I think that all the companies that have shown a commitment to nature and to people have actually excelled in business. And it's something that it's proven. If you look at reports from McKinsey and from MIT, It shows that purpose-led companies that look at their impact on society and on nature actually do better than others. And it shows also on their profitability. We need to think that everything around us is based on business. The seat where I'm sitting today, everything I consume, everything I use, the energy around me is due to business. So I cannot detach my life when they say we are activists. We're not activists. We're actually here to look at a better future. But the business part cannot be put aside.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
So that's the value creation you bring.
Yes.
Okay, so going to Justin, same line.
Yeah, I would say quite simply that we're open to collaboration. So we have ambitious goals. One of our key strengths has been executing and delivering, not just strategizing. But the point is, we can't do it on our own. So collaborating with every branch of society across the globe, we're open. So using Arsenio's call to action, I would like to invite peers, competitors, anybody in our industry that you want to join us on the fantastic journey or path we're on, please get in touch with us. We'd more than happy to collaborate.
Indeed. Captain Saif?
I think the panel covered most of the things, implementation, collaborations. I will maybe focus on another part, which is more about awareness. So I met many medium and small businesses, maritime industry. They don't feel that this is their obligation. They feel it's about the giants in the field, the bigger organizations. So therefore, awareness starts from school. People get aware about that, how sustainable our business be, how to be sustainable in your lifestyle. Again, the part where mentioned that is sustainability a cost center? Is it an opposite from a growth? I see sustainability is enabler to growth. You cannot be growing without having the sustainability part in it. So this is very important. These are awareness from the young age, from the programs we are making as the Junior Captain program and the other industries awareness for the community, for the maritime community is very important.
Indeed. And I would like to thank our speakers, Mr. Arsenio, Captain Saif, Justin, and Tatiana, for the wonderful knowledge sharing and interaction and putting up with me with my questions. Thank you very much. And a round of applause, please, for our speaker.
Have a group photo, if you don't mind, group photo. As we set sail from this port, 3 anchors remain with us. Ocean well-being is an obligation. Innovation unlocks opportunity. Stewardship must be shared across generations. Thank you to our moderator and panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, we now break for lunch and networking. I bet you're hungry.